Recording level.
Recording.
Why does it always start at 100? That's never where I want it.
It's because it knows what you're about.
Being loud?
Yeah.
Whoa! During Pride Month, Wednesday, June 10th, 2026 at 8:56 p.m. when we're recording? That's crazy, Raven. Way to start this off.
It's just that time of evening. You said you're feeling ornery, so I'm just giving you the energy you're giving me.
I didn't say that. Because if it's not recorded, you have no...
And listeners, here we witness Campbell's age-old tradition of gaslighting me. But welcome back to... No, you don't get the chance to defend yourself for that.
I haven't gaslit you a day in my life.
Welcome back to Boozicles, listeners, where Campbell and I pick a musical, pick a cocktail, and just go to town. This movie's about going to town.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever heard you say... going to town, especially like that before. I'm just like, curious.
Indeed it is. Now I've lost my train of thought, Campbell, and that's your fault.
Train?
Oh my gosh. What's the musical term for the day?
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to do that. It's septet. Ugh, shot of gin is crazy. So, I'm kind of lazy with this one, but a septet is like a composition for 7 solo voices, instruments, performing ensemble of 7 like musicians. Some like famous ones are like Septet in E flat major by Beethoven. That's like a pretty popular septet. And I was trying to think what is a word for like 14 people at once. Because, like, 12's a dozen, 13, baker's dozen. Couldn't find one for 14. So, Raven, let's make one up. A farmer's dozen?
Perhaps a patisserie's dozen?
That's clunky and stupid. You should feel bad about yourself. I don't know.
You know, I was going to be nice to you about the laziness thing and say a nice thing to you, and now I'm not going to.
Okay, we can bring up all the times you were lazy with this podcast.
There's
phoning it in.
There is no laziness. There's only creative efficiencies.
And creative inefficiencies, by definition.
It's not inefficient if you're, like, definitionally being lazy is taking less effort to do the same thing, which is efficient.
How many discussion questions have we had that you're just like, I don't know, this?
Literally, like, 2. We've had, like, 2 discussion questions where I'm like, I don't know what to ask for today.
So, non-zero. And it comes up from insights of my wonderful commentary, and you're like, that's good, let's talk about that.
No, that's the opposite happening. What's happening in those situations is I picked a discussion question, and then you had the same thought because we share a brain cell, and so it came out of your mouth before I had the chance to say it.
So it sounds like I'm the winner in that situation.
That's crazy.
Get good.
So
anyway,
today we are
the musical we're doing. No, the musical we're doing today first, because we have some order, some decorum sometimes, is 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, which I was really excited about for a few reasons. One, I think it's a really fun soundtrack. The plot is crazy.
Wild.
It was one of the musicals we did at my high school that I was in the pit for. And I really liked it because 2 of the pairings, like man and future wife, were 2 very good friends of mine, Cullen and my friend Emma. And it was so fun because at the very end, like marriage, their wedlock, shotgun wedding, and they have to kiss on stage, and Emma didn't want to kiss Cullen at all. It was so funny, and he would say things like while they were changing, or like the scene was changing, it's like, I'm gonna mush up a banana in my mouth right before we kiss. It would just traumatize her. And in the rehearsals, I would like look up from the pit, and I would see like a singular tear down Emma's face every time she had to kiss Cullen.
Oh my god. I feel like you also... I'm also, like, always on the fence about...
making children kiss for entertainment?
Yeah, like, I'm just like, you could have them hug, you could have them stage kiss. There's other things we could have them do. But it's happened already.
It was so funny.
What are you gonna do?
Every single time. But also, so many people I know love this musical. Like I was just saying before we're recording, like Cameron was excited that we're doing this musical. My friend Scott, both of my parents.
Honestly,
it's a classic.
Having seen it for the first time, I get it. This was a fun.
I wasn't sure which way it was going to go with you watching it.
Neither was I after the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, because you're just going to be like, hold up, what are we doing?
I was like,
because
oh yikes, this is what's happening.
It'll either be like, oh, this is like, oh, bad for so many reasons. Of course, this is a story about women fixing men. But at the same time, Raven, you famously hate women and are supportive of that. And if you have a clean-shaven white man that, like, dances, they can do no wrong.
I do think they all lost by forcing them to shave.
I disagree, because forcing them to shave showed how submissive they were, and that kind of did something for me.
I mean, valid. No, I had a really good time. I feel like this musical, it gave me the same energy. This is going to be complimentary, which I'm saying out loud because I know that for you it's not going to seem that way. This gave me the same energy as Oklahoma, but at like half the runtime. So I had a very good time watching this movie.
But also with this, compared to Oklahoma, which a lot of these actors were in, the plot was clear and like the main conflict was established early on.
Yeah.
Instead of like, surprise, Act 2, the largest conflict in this was here the whole time. Don't gaslight me into that, Oklahoma. Hugh Jackman.
I'm curious that you're now accusing others of gaslighting when you yourself have shirked off.
That's literally what I've always been about.
Get to the cast. Actually, no, the drink.
See, this is what happens when you try to be haughty and like put me in my place.
Yeah, because I don't know anything, and I have a terrible memory.
No, you don't ever. And this is, I was about to say, I think you should kill yourself.
Oh my God, Campbell! You can't say that on the podcast. People don't know that you're joking.
We can only say that about James Corden and Hugh Jackman on Letterboxd specifically.
And I'm not joking.
I'm not joking with that. Specifically, greatest. I was like, which Hugh Jackman one were we talking about with that? I was like, Oklahoma. That's everyone, but it was the Greatest Showman specifically. Yeah. Where like, this is bad. You should feel bad. It blows my mind that people like that musical.
I literally was talking to my coworkers the other day. Hey, shout out, because I know at least one of you listens to this. And I was
I hate when
we were talking
people
about Greatest Showman,
listen to this podcast.
and they were saying they're like, I said something about how terrible Greatest Showman was, and they were like, oh really? And I was like, I mean, the soundtrack is good. Straight? The movie is terrible. Yeah, obviously.
I think that's honestly 70% of it. Derogatory. Oh, I know you like sent me a video, but it's musical related, and I know we said like it is a Wednesday night and we have so like little time, and I'm not going to do any shenanigans, but
you're going to do shenanigans.
We both know we were lying, and by we I mean I. The Tony Awards was this past weekend.
I didn't know because I don't watch them. How was it?
You literally sent me a clip of a performance from it.
I didn't know that's what that was from.
Raven, you like
I saw it on YouTube and I was like, this is cool, Campbell will like it.
There were so many awesome tributes and very deserving winners, of course, all night long. I think the best award show is always the Tonys, because it's people that like are just always performing. But there was the Chicago tribute that was so good. Pink hosted. And
that was for the Tonys. I thought she just played Roxy. Okay, and continue. My bad.
Anyway, gross. Just use a concept. There was a really amazing performance of "When You're Good to Mama" by Alex Newell, who's played Mama Morton on Broadway. But do you know who they were introduced by?
Who?
Queen Latifah.
Hell yeah.
And just like made me feel so good.
I can imagine Alex Newell absolutely killing that song and having that connection with Queen Latifah.
See, and this is how you know I'm good. Instead of making you watch it right now, I'll send you a clip later.
And I'm genuinely proud of you for making that sacrifice, Campbell.
A drink in, we may take an intermission so I can make you watch it, because it will be on my mind, and it's so good. But anyway, the musical we're doing today, the drink we're drinking today for Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, I was really trying to think about a lot of historical context. This musical takes place in 1850 Oregon Territory. I lived in Oregon for about 6 years. I was trying to think of what grows there, what were they drinking, and what kind of like liquors. There was like beer and ciders and things going on around that period in the Pacific Northwest, Oregon Territory. And something I was reading a lot about was something called Blue Ruin. And so this is kind of terminology around that time and some other like places in Europe. But basically gin, that when people drink too much of it, like when you drink too much alcohol, you turn blue and like it kind of like ruins you. It's ruinous. And that was associated with gin a lot during that time period. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a gin base. And then I was thinking about one of my favorite things to do in Oregon when it's June and life is worth living again is just walking around summers picking blackberries off the bushes, like on the way to work or on a hike or things like that. And so I was thinking, it's like, let's just make it simple. And it's basically gin, some lemon juice, and then jam of your choice. I think blackberry is a good one. About a tablespoon with that, and just kind of like shake it all up till the jam kind of breaks and becomes homogeneous. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love blackberry jam. I unfortunately was too busy to go to the store for some, so I'm using apricot jam, which I also love.
I have different jams. I have blackberry for this drink, and the next one I do is going to be raspberry because I just made Italian rainbow cookies this past weekend, so I have a bunch of jam left.
Yeah. Oh, those
Apricot is
are so
solid,
good.
though.
Yeah, I love apricot jam. It's like probably one of my favorites, besides blackberry. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Clink.
Plunk. I mean, it's just good.
Ooh, yeah.
Juicy.
I really wasn't. I wasn't sure. Like, we've done drinks with jam in some form before. So like, obviously,
once before for your birthday.
Yeah. So like, obviously, it'll incorporate and all that. But I was curious, like the ratios, like how much it would temper. You know, the amount.
I just guessed. So it's 2 ounces gin, half an ounce of lemon juice, and about like a tablespoon
the jam
of jam.
Yeah, it's honestly a perfect balance to me. Like, obviously, yeah, you can taste the alcohol, but it's not overpowering with jam.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it, though.
I'm feeling something like... no, I was thinking like something like log... But they don't do any lumber stuff. They do
June
trapping... Jam? A June jam? I do like June jam as a name.
It's also really fun to say.
It is.
Seven Brides for Seven Brothers is a 1954 American musical film. It was directed by Stanley Donen. The music was by Gene DePaul. The lyrics by Johnny Mercer. And it was choreographed by Michael Kidd. Really fun choreography, especially for the barn raising. And so this screenplay, the screenplay was by Albert Hackett, Francis Goodrich, and Dorothy Kingsley. And it's based off of a few different things. Just going back chronologically, there's a short story called The Sabin Women by Stephen Vincent Benet, which was based off the like ancient Roman tale of the rape of the Sabin women, which we'll talk about when we get to the Sabin Women song, which this musical does a really good job of, you know, when you have a song with like that sounds really like upbeat and fun, but like what it means,
the lyrics are actually kind of horrific.
Yeah, this musical has just bangers of those.
Perfect balance, and I love it every time. The music is so good. It
is really good. And so this musical, there was a stage musical made later for this that premiered in 1978, 1979. But it was the musical, the book was by Lawrence Kasha and David Landay. The music, of course, still by Gene DePaul, but Al Kasha and Joel Hirschhorn. Lyrics by Johnny Mercer, Al Kasha, and Joel Hirschhorn, based on the 1954 film. And I think it was also fun for the original run of it. The main two leads, Howard Keel and Jane Powell, reprised their roles for the stage musical. Fun. And I always think that's fun.
Yeah.
And just getting to some of the actors. So Adam Ponape is played by Howard Keel. He's also been in Dallas, Calamity Jane, Annie Get Your Gun. Very famous singer. He has an incredible timbre in his voice. He's just, I don't know, the voice is just like so rich. Big fan. And then just going with the brothers and the brides. And Benjamin's played by Jeff Richards, also been in Jefferson Drum, Don't Go Near the Water, Angels in the Outfield, like the original one. Gideon is played by Russ Tamblyn, who's also been in West Side Story, the 1961 one. He was also in Django Unchained and Twin Peaks.
Oh, hell yeah.
Frank Frankincense is played by Tommy Rawl, who's also been in My Sister Eileen, Kiss Me Kate, and the musical We've Done, Funny Girl. He was a dancer in it. Daniel's played by Mark Platt, who's also been in Tonight and Every Night, Down to Earth, and Oklahoma, the 1955 one, the one we didn't do. Caleb's played by Matt Maddox, who's also been in There's No Business Like Show Business, The Bandwagon, but he was also in Guys and Dolls as a dancer. Interesting thing about Matt Maddox, in Lonesome Polecat, his voice is dubbed in by Bill Lee, who was also the singing voice for Roger in 101 Dalmatians and Captain Von Trapp singing voice in Sound of Music. But on the soundtrack album, Maddox is singing. So I was like, why'd you dub him then? That's kind of weird.
I saw that too, and I was like, why? That's so interesting.
Ephraim's played by Jacques D'Amboise, who's also been in A Midsummer's Night's Dream and Carousel. And then we have Jane Powell, who plays Millie, who's been in Meet Me in St. Louis, A Date with Judy, but she's been in so many musicals on the stage, like South Pacific, The Sound of Music, Oklahoma, My Fair Lady, Carousel. She did the one-woman show, The Girl Next Door, and How She Grew, which she took the title of her 1988 autobiography, so that's fun. Nice. Dorcas, which is such a fun name for a character. What's Up, Dorcas is played by Julie Newmar, who's also been Julie Newmar, very famous person, especially for the gays. Also been in Lil Abner, My Living Doll. She was Catwoman in the original Batman TV show in 1966. We have Alice, played by Nancy Kilgus, who's also been in Oklahoma, Torn Curtain, Curse of the Undead. Sarah's played by Biddy Carr. Didn't really have a lot of other credits. Liza's played by Virginia Gibson, who's also been in Funny Face, So This Is Hollywood, and Athena. Ruth is played by Ruta Lee, who's been in Witness for the Prosecution, Funny Face, Bullet for a Bad Man. Martha, played by Norman Doggett, didn't have a lot of other credits. Reverend Elcott's played by Ian Wolfe, who's also been in Witness for the Prosecution, Dick Tracy, and the series called Wizards and Warriors. We'll be checking that out. Pete is played by Howard Petrie, who's also been in Bounty Hunter and Bend of the River. Harry's played by Earl Barton, didn't have a lot of other credits. Matt's played by Dante DiPaolo, who's also been in Ziegfeld Follies and The Pirate. That one with the really good scene of the Nicholas brothers, the dancing scene with Gene Kelly. Carl's played by Kelly Brown, who's also been in Oklahoma and Danny Longlegs. Ruth's uncle is the character's name, which I think is fun. Is played by Matt Moore, who's also been in Reign, The Unholy Three. Dorcas's father is played by Dick Rich, incredible name, who's also been in Gunsmoke and Dressed to Kill. Mrs. Bixby is played by Marjorie Wood, who's also been in Annie Get Your Gun and one of the earlier filmed Pride and Prejudices. Mr. Bixby is played by Russell Simpson, who's been in The Grapes of Wrath, My Darling Clementine, and The Lone Ranger. And that's like the main cast we have for this film.
Shall we get into it?
We start with the main title, which is a fun little medley of Sobbin' Women, Bless Your Beautiful Hide, and Wonderful, Wonderful Day. We're in the Oregon Territory, 1850, which is like basically the Pacific Northwest with some Idaho surrounding areas.
Yeah.
And we're in Bixby's Trading... And someone's looking for some stuff, but also looking for a wife who's not afraid to work.
Yeah, so we see not Benjamin. Adam has come in from out of town. He's a hunter trapper.
He's like 12 miles away.
Yeah,
so far
and he's going into the store basically with a bundle of furs, trying to trade. And he Yeah, he's like, well, I got 6 brothers. They all need wives because where we live is a pigsty, and we need women to clean it up because we're men, so we're incapable of doing it ourselves. And there are like
Preach.
the store owner. Well, that's not even me saying that. That's him saying that.
Preach, Raven.
The store owner is like, well, unfortunately, you're in the what's it called? The frontier, right? Like we're in the Oregon frontier. There's no fucking women out here.
Mrs. Bixby is just like, back
here,
the fuck up, dude, and like
literally.
really puts him in his place. And he says, "Milady, are there any unmarried females in town?" And we see a group of women who end up being some of the brides. Just talk about a quilting bee, and Mr. Bixby is like, "No, they're
women.
spoken for." And Adam's like, "I don't see a ring. That don't matter to me."
Betrothed isn't married, so
Betrothed, which is true.
Yeah.
And both of us on this podcast agree. Shoot your shot. You never know.
shoot your shot, man. And
like
he says,
what all good American men should do, don't lock yourself down to one woman right off the back. See all your options. Even though these women right here, he does call pretty fresh and young. He's like, I'm going to keep you in mind. Gotta see all my options. And at this point, when I watch these musicals you haven't seen before, especially musicals like from the 50s, I always think in my head, I wonder what Raven's thinking about right now. And Raven, what were you thinking about right now at this initial part of the musical?
In this initial part of the musical, I was like, I know what
this
you
is
are.
for me.
I know what you are. I know
Say
what
it.
this is. I know what this is going. I know what this is going to be. And so it's basically a question of like, okay, is this going to be the type of musical that I'm like, yeah, it's misogynist, but it's a fun time, you know? Or is it going to be, God, why? Why? God, why? And it turned
Would
out
I
to be
ever
the
do that
former.
to you?
Yes.
Name
With
3
joy,
times.
with pleasure.
Name 3 times I've done that to you.
From Justin to Kelly.
Okay.
I was gonna say The King and I, but that was me doing it to you.
Yeah, twice.
The second one was supposed to be better. It wasn't, but it was supposed to
No,
be.
it was better. Because
I mean, yes, but the bar's on the floor.
Raven,
so
it's a school night. 2 more.
Cinderella 2021.
Damn, I thought I was hoping you'd forget that.
You thought I would forget that word.
Give me one more musical that I've tortured you with. Also, you love From Justin to Kelly. You literally have the extended edition on DVD.
Crazy. There's definitely been another one.
I don't think so. I think we're not out of time because we're on a schedule.
Crazy. Anyway, so we get into the song "Bless Your Beautiful Hide."
Banger.
It is a
banger of
banger.
a song.
For a man with awful slim pickings, though, he's awful picky. And I'm just like, sir, I don't know if you have the flexibility to be this picky. Turns out he does,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
by slim
unfortunately.
margins.
It does suck when there's a guy that's like so about himself in so many ways and is successful in doing so.
Yeah. But it does also reinforce there's somebody for everybody, and it's just like, you'll find your person. Doesn't matter how douchey you are.
And straight couples love to hate each other.
Truly. And they're... Oh, yes, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's got that... It's interesting. I feel like musicals from the 50s have, like, 2 sounds, and both of them are classic, and to me, instantly recognizable as the 50s, but very different from each other. Like, because the one we just... I
Guys
feel
and
like
Dolls.
that was very obvious what I just said.
Okay,
but, like, the one we just watched, like, yeah, like, Guys and Dolls, and a lot of the other 50s movies we watched have that very, like, classic crooner-style music, where it's, like, instantly recognizable, Bing Crosby, you know what I mean? But, like, the singing in this musical is also very classically 50s, but still a very different style to me.
The music in this, I'm like, oh, this is what all musicals sound like. You know?
No. I do know what you mean, I don't agree with it, but I do know what you mean.
What don't you agree
As
with?
in, like, I mean that I've never once had that thought.
You kids and your Hamiltons and your Lin-Manuel Mirandas being rap talking so you don't have to sing, piece of shit. That's all what you're about now. You have it too good.
I have it too good. crazy. But yeah, all musicals did kind of sound like this until like the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
So I get it.
So he sees Millie, and he's into her because, you know what? She's not like other girls. She's
Not
like,
at all.
hey, don't treat me like that. And he was like, whoa, what if I treated her like that?
A woman standing up for herself. That's crazy.
That's crazy. I don't want her to do that with me, as we see throughout the film. But like, I like she doesn't do that with other guys. That rocks.
That's awesome. That's great.
And he's gonna sample her cooking. She like love at first sight, ladles some soup in a dude's crotch. Hilarious, big fan. And he says this smells good enough to eat because, listeners, negging works. And the soup can stand on its own feet, and it's really good. And he's like, you want to get married? And she's like, you know what? Maybe.
Yeah.
Because next time it'll be down, it'll be 5 months till he can come again. Are you really going to make me wait 5 months just because of your pride? Person I literally just met and we haven't exchanged names.
Just met today.
And then she's like, you know what, dude, you're right, but I have to finish my chores first.
And he says, okay, that's fine, I guess. I gotta go clean up and I gotta find a preacher. By the time I'm done with that, you better be ready, though.
I really like our denim gingham outfit right here. I think that's really fun.
I do really like her dress.
Yeah.
I really, honestly, I think the costumes in this are really good.
No.
I really enjoy them.
We get a reprise of Bless Your Beautiful Hide, and he's shaving all cleaned up. He looks pretty handsome. And we're at the Reverend's house. And no one's supportive of this.
I think he looks better with the beard.
I think he looks better with the beard.
Thing.
I think
it was a cultural thing. Like
these beards need to be
well.
brushed.
I think they...
Because they look wiry.
I was like, maybe I don't know enough about men's grooming, which I definitely don't. Not a man. Never had facial hair. But, like, they look brushed to me.
No, they're scraggy.
Like, all of them look... They're not... Okay.
No.
I don't know nothing about nothing.
Remember when I used to have like a full beard? That was crazy.
Yeah. Because canonically, Sexy Campbell had a full beard.
Oh, canonically, that one time I had a full beard and a flannel. I'm picking up for dinner. One of my most platonic people I know.
And you're wearing aviators.
And aviators. Oh, I miss those sunglasses. I lost them out of regionals, and they were
really fit your face shape. You should get new ones.
Maybe. Those were a really good one, and they had like a 70s like brown lens. Big fan. But I picked Raven up, and I was like, we're gonna go to dinner, and she like opened the door, and she was like, hold up, who's this man right here? And I was like,
you didn't say anything because I didn't say anything to you. You didn't know about that until years later.
Mm-hmm. When you were drunk and you had to you confessed to me like you were to a priest, and you were like, I've sinned. I've had temptations from someone I shouldn't.
Because it's like, it feels like I'm a person who has no qualms about like sleeping with someone that I have a friendship with, where that friendship is not otherwise romantic.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
But when I have an established platonic relationship with someone, it does feel incredibly strange to then think about them in a sexual way.
However,
that one time, I don't know what it was. It was the flannel, it was the beard, it was
like the sleeves were a little rolled up. I was like, "Hey, you want to get a burger?" And you're like, "Oh my god, this is it.
This is my dream." This is
gross.
So we go to Millie's house, and the preacher's there, and he's not very happy about marrying her off to this random ass man, because he's like, "I actually like you." And this guy sucks.
But she was like, literally all the men in this town are awful. And which is very relatable content as someone who lived in Oregon, and all the men were awful.
And she's like, he's basically the first man who didn't make me cry at the thought of saying yes to marrying him. So here we are. And so he's like, fine, and he marries them. Then they immediately book it out of there, head off 12 miles away to his cabin, or house rather. They do have a cabin, but that comes up later. I do love, as they're leaving, we pass the storekeepers, and they're absolutely scandalized by like, well, gosh darn it, he did it.
He got life.
And so like along the way, they stop to water the horses, and Millie goes off to gather some wildflowers.
What a fun sentence.
They stop to water the horses?
Yeah. Like with a watering can? We'll
And
cut
so we
it
get
out.
into
It's
the
fine.
song.
It wasn't funny. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
We get into the song "Wonderful, Wonderful Day."
This song is really fun. Despite I saw one review of this musical, and they were like, "You're just so immersed in this musical, you can't even tell the backdrops are backdrops." I was like, "You are on
You
drugs."
can definitely
I
tell
was
the
like,
backdrops
you
are
was like,
backdrops.
okay, you're an alcoholic.
What's this weed shit?
In crisis, like having in psychosis, like that's crazy. It's pretty, it's fine, but this is a song that really shows up with that.
During this scene specifically, I had the thought, "Oh wow, you can really notice the backdrop.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty. It's painted well.
Yeah,
like
it's fine." I really like this song, of course. The score is beautiful in this, and this is a good example of musical phrasing.
Yeah.
Especially with it, this song, it just swells in a really emotive way, and that's something that's first. I don't know. I've never had a problem with like phrasing when I'm playing like in an ensemble, because it just like makes sense. Like, oh, here's like the melody, the musical phrase, so we're going to like crescendo for 2 measures, decrescendo for 2 measures, or like 3 and 1. Like, I don't know, but a lot of times it just feels like intuitive, but there's a lot of musicians that, which I would not call myself a musician, I would call myself a music fan, where if it's not literally written out, they won't do it. I'm like, what's the point of playing something if you're not just gonna be a little funky with it?
Playing.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. That's the thing I want to be able to do. When I say I want to play an instrument, that's the thing I want to be able to do.
For our 50th anniversary concert, we had a bunch of past conductors from the band join, and we had this one song. What was it called? Sorry. Oh, I have the recording of it, I should send you those recordings. You'll actually like to hear that concert. Band concert, 50th, May 9th, 2026. Liebestod, which is a really, really beautiful song. And there's like written in parts of it, hey, don't breathe again till like measure 32, which I think is so fun. And if you do, stagger breathe with your section. And luckily I actually have a bassoon section again, so I did that a lot. But we had this one conductor, we were rehearsing with someone else for a while, and they were like, oh yeah, like dude, like phrasing and stuff, but the style of conducting he did was very emotive, and it wasn't like you had to watch to know what the tempo was, because in Sondheim style it always changed. And for those kinds of musical phrasing, swelling moments, I really liked. But a lot of people complained about it. They were like, could you follow him at all? I was like, yes, because I don't know. There was like alignment with the tone and the theming of this song, and the visual phrasing he was providing for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I feel like for me, the reason I struggle with phrasing in groups, like thinking back to the days that I did play in an orchestra, the reason I struggle with phrasing in groups is more of like just my own absent-mindedness and failure of attentiveness.
Oh, because you don't pay attention, you don't count.
Yeah, because my...
derogatory.
For me, like, the phrasing... I feel like phrasing is intuitive on most instruments. There are instruments that
it is way harder on certain instruments. That actually that's a very good point.
Yeah, there are instruments that have specific defined phrasing techniques. Like I'm currently learning several on the piano. But like phrasing on like a string instrument, there are specific things that you can do, obviously, specific techniques you can employ for the purpose of phrasing, but like once you learn the general techniques to play like a violin, for example, you kind of just employ them at your own will, however you want to achieve the phrasing that you want. Yeah. And so like playing the cello in orchestra, like for me that phrasing just came so intuitively that it's I have to work very hard to counteract the intuitive phrasing that I want to do and make myself follow what the conductor is telling me to do. Otherwise, I'll get off from like my section or like the other section. I have to like stop my body from doing the thing it wants to intuitively do, you know? Yeah.
That's so fun. How for string instruments? What kind of like techniques are you talking about?
Most of it is in the bowing. So like what your breath technique
Boeing
is
757.
on.
The 75.
What like breath technique
to my
is to a breath instrument, bowing is for a string instrument. So all of that technique is in your bowing. So it's about like the amount of pressure that you're applying, the angle that you're touching, that you're contacting the strings at. So like you can play with the bow like fully on its face, like fully flat, or like on its edge where you're only letting a couple of hairs contact the string. You can move it closer to the fingerboard, closer to the bridge. You can change like the way, and this is more similar to like piano phrasing, but you can change the way you're contacting the string. So like kind of like literally my mind goes to like multivariate calculus, a Dirac delta function.
Kurt, honestly, no other explanation needed. If like people are listening to this and they're like, "What the fuck is multivariable calculus? How does that relate?"
This is not for you.
This podcast is not for you. This is solely because, again, I don't care if anyone listens to this because this is just hangout time with Raven and Campbell. And you just said my favorite version of math, the best form of calculus. Fuck differential equation.
I love multivariate. Actually,
because you're a transport bitch instead of a thermo bastard.
Differential equations is my true favorite, but that's kind of a subset of multivariate in a way. It's tricky.
Oh, I think that's a very hot take.
Really?
That differential equations was a subset of multivariable calculus?
Maybe not. Maybe subset is the wrong word. I feel that way.
Cousins.
I feel that way because I took differential equations before taking multivariate. And when I took differential equations, I had a really
Isn't that the normal sequence?
No, apparently. The other order, at least at VCU, I was told they're interchangeable. You can take them in either order.
I think I took diffie-q before multi.
A lot of people do. In my personal experience, I had a really high learning curve, and then even though I did do well, and like I still liked the class in the end, but then when I went to multivariate, I was like, oh, I had a high learning curve in diffie-q because all the things I didn't know in diffie-q that I was confused about at the beginning, you learn in multivariate. At least that was my personal experience. Yeah. The things personally I was confused about in differential equations, I learned in multivariate. And so I was like...
You know what I really love about musicals is that we devolve into a conversation in the mathematical reasoning, but like the comparative nature of differential equations and multivariable calculus. I think that's really fun, funky, and fresh, dare I say. And yeah, I think that really tracks.
It does. But we do.
What were we talking about?
Wonderful,
swelling.
Wonderful day. Yes, the swelling.
But which, I mean, I will say differential equations, I think makes more sense for swelling if we're talking about like the actual physics of sound and looking at the sinusoidal waves. That's represented, and I think swelling's really fun for different woodwind instruments, especially when you have like double weeds. Ugh, ours are tricky. Ours are tricky. I was in speech classes in elementary school. Ms. Silverstein, who's my speech teacher, that taught me how to say R's by grinning, which I think every time I have to say a name or a word that starts with the letter R. And Kira Jarrell, who's a speech pathologist. And I love her very much. She'll be back on the podcast soon. But anyway, especially between single and double reads, like the different breath controls, and especially, say, just taking within double reads, if you have a contrabassoon that takes so much breath of such a big reed and instrument, you have to like pre-breathe. Especially, and it takes so much effort to like do these kinds of swells compared to like an oboe that you like take that pre-breath, you like breathe, and then there's kind of like a hesitation pause because there's like so little of that breath that can go through the instrument that it's kind of like lagging, like a delay when you're breathing. But I do really like this song, but eventually they make it back to his homestead.
Oh, one note I did have, just on her voice. She has like a really clear tone, and I just love her control over her vocals. Yeah. She's just very talented. Continue.
And after a really great song, and then they make it back to the homestead. Because during this song and like the, not prelude, but like the what she was saying beforehand, that she was talking about, I was working at this inn, I was serving all these men. It's so exciting that I can just focus on my one husband and no one else. I miss silence. It's gonna be a little lonely, and I'm really excited for it. And is introduced to his 6 brothers, which
that he did not bother to tell her about on the way up there when she was saying all that
how
stuff.
terrifying would that be? That you're just like, oh, this person I just met, whatever, going to this remote place, and there's 6 other men there.
Genuinely, like, when she got there, in my mind, I was like, I don't know the terror this woman is concealing in this moment. Because I think a lot of, especially, like, my generation and millennial women would agree with this. If I walk into a room and I'm the only woman and there's 7 strange men there that I don't know, I'm afraid. If I'm alone in a house in the woods in 1850s Oregon with no roads or conceivable way for someone to get to me, and I'm alone with 7 random men I don't fucking know, nah, bitch, I'm going out fighting.
It's okay. But we learned their names. Their mother wanted them to have biblical names. Their dad wanted to name them alphabetically. So you'd remember they wanted to get down to Zachariah, but they stopped at G, Gideon, the gay one. And so they're making fun of Frank because his name's frankincense, because there's no biblical names that start with the letter F. And that's really fun. They start fighting each other, and they're like, he's like, "Oh, get out of here!" Anyway, this place is a mess. Let us know when dinner's ready. And so she rings the bell, and everyone starts like going hog wild. And she like hits him, like, have some decency, wait for grace. If you act like hogs, you can eat like hogs. And she like flips over the table, and she's like, "Go fuck yourself."
I literally wrote down, "You go, girl."
Yeah, and then she like goes up to the room to go reconsider every single life decision she's ever made. And all the guys are being pervs downstairs. Is like, well, it's an hour past bedtime, which bedtime was 8 p.m. I guess it's time to go to bed, and I'll go to my bed and consummate this marriage. And
that I tricked this woman into.
Yes. And she's like, "Actually, I'm not going to go to bed. You don't want a wife. You want a hired girl." And he's like, no, I was so inspired by you when I saw you. I want someone I'm able to work alongside of. Your eyes are bluer than cornflowers, which I really like the Crayola Crown. Cornflower blue, it was a personal favorite of mine among cerulean and seafoam green. I know what your favorite 3 crowns colors.
I forget
what's your top 3
crowns all the time. I don't know crayon colors. Like other than like purple, red, blue. Like I know
what about
colors.
red, violet?
I don't know crayon colors.
Marigold?
Like
Do you know the marigold girl? It's her favorite color. So she has everything marigold.
I can picture the color marigold.
Okay.
I have always
imagine that, but wax stick for children.
I have always been partial to like ochre. I like that.
I hardly know her. Did you like coloring as a child?
Never with crayons. Yes, but never with crayons. I hate crayons.
Why?
Usually coloring pencils. I don't like the feel of them. Like, I don't like the feel of the wax. A, touching it, and B, how it feels on the paper, and C, how it looks on the paper.
I remember in elementary school, so this may surprise you, but sometimes I was good at art. And so, elementary school art teacher, whoa, someone's ceramic project and bowl I'm making for them is going to be mysteriously lost. Crazy. I've been doing some stuff on the wheel recently, and it's going well. I'm like,
you're doing so many cool things.
It's going wheel. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, don't. Genuinely, that was good. I liked that.
Thank you. But Ms. Austin, shout out. She was so disappointed. For some reason, there was some event at my elementary school when I was in middle school or high school, and she was like, "You've been keeping up with the art, right?" I was like, "No, I did band instead." But
music is art. I know what she meant. Continue.
But anyway, like every year, for art class, as she was my elementary school art teacher all 5 years I was at this elementary school, she would do this thing where she wasn't sure whether it would be good for other students this grade, and she was like, "Campbell, can you do this first before you practice this so we can see if we test it out next week for the students. So I was like an elementary school art class teacher's aide, which...
Honestly, I would expect nothing less. That fully tracks.
Ms. Austin was like one of my favorite teachers of all time. And so one week, like, I don't know what the other students were doing. They're working on some art project, and we were talking about crowns and like different ways to like use them. So we experimented with like kind of shaving them a different way and doing different shading and things like that, of like how we can get like deeper, fuller colors and not as like scratchy. Sparse. Yeah, that's perfect word for it, for some projects. But like, I don't know, we got some like really good techniques going. I think it was in like 4th grade when we were like trying that. I don't know. It's something I just think about. And eyes bluer than cornflowers made me think of all this because of cornflower blue, Crayola Crown.
Cornflower blue is a beautiful color. I have seen some beautiful crayon colorings and like drawings and like artwork. It's just like, to me, always the amount of effort. I mean, maybe like what y'all were doing with like the cutting and stuff, I'm sure that had like a huge difference on it. In my experience, the way I've used cut crayons, the amount of effort I have to put in to get the amount of color saturation that I want has never been worth it to me, which is why I've always been preferential to color pencils.
It's very similar. I forgot what the technique, what it's called. Hold on, let me look it up real quick.
Because I do think when you use crayons the right way, the amount of color saturation and like vibrancy you can get is, I think, almost untouched by anything besides like full on paints.
But with crowns, you can, like, the textures that you can do are really cool. And you know how in comic books they have those like different dots that like overlay.
Yeah.
Those are called bin day dots. And it was an inexpensive printing technique that was developed in 1879 by illustrator and printer Benjamin Henry Day Jr. And it's like during the golden and silver ages of comic books, which, like, you know how much I love comic books. Like, I feel like most of my reading as a youth, when I decided to learn how to read, because I refused to for most of my childhood, early childhood, was on comic books because my dad was a huge comic book fan and I know like so much lore. But how very much like cyan, magenta, yellow printing, make all the colors, similar stuff with the bin day dots. I love watching people do that, especially on like Illustrator or things like that. You can do very similar things with crowns because of that sparsity in the wax, like over things. There's some like really cool combinations you can do with that. It's just like, it's just a different technique.
Yeah.
That when he complimented her eyes, when later he talks about all women are the same, made me think of.
Fair.
And she was like, fine, I'll work alongside you, but I'm not going to sleep alongside you.
Love it.
And then he goes, gets some water to save face, goes, tries to sleep in a tree. And he was like, and she was like, why are you sleeping in a tree? And he was like, this was your idea. And I wrote, don't gaslight her, parentheses, Raven favorite thing to do. And then we get to the song When You're in Love. That's literally my notes. So
wild. And yeah, When You're in Love is a wild song to me because at this point, I guess I hadn't realized, because I don't believe in the concept of love at first sight, and I hadn't realized that that's what
which Millie, part, the love part or the sight part?
Both. I didn't realize that canonically that's what Millie's character was experiencing. I thought she was just like...
You didn't see that from the ladling soup on that dude's crotch?
I thought it was like certainly like an infatuation, but not something that she would describe as love at first sight. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was like that level. I thought it was like he is really attractive, seems like as much of a stand-up dude as I could know in meeting him in 30 seconds. You know what I mean? And fuck it, I'm down for an adventure. That's what I thought was going through her mind. And so at this moment, I was like, what about this day or man would cause you to be in love with him?
Raven, I don't think you understand how bad the dating scene is in the state of Oregon.
50 Oregon.
Also, 2020's Oregon.
Valid. Other than that, it's classic crooner, and I do still like it as a song.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. And then we get to the next day, and she was like, you know what? I'm going to run everything here. And it's early in the morning. The brothers are waking up. Their clothes aren't there because she's already washed. She already got in and washed them. And she was like, you know what? Now I need your undergarments to wash. You're not allowed to have breakfast until you give them to me. I'm happy to go in them, take them off you myself, but this is not how this is going to work. And she then describes such an incredible breakfast.
Yes.
Despite the meat that I no longer eat.
Wouldn't eat, yeah. I was like, goddamn, I mean, I'll take my clothes off for that. And this is where
and
I was like...
And that's not hyperbole.
No. And this is the point where I was like, I love the genre of stories that's just men are animalistic brutes who require civilized women to tame them.
They do say later, they're like, we've never seen girls before. And I was like, okay, yes. I do believe that, though.
I do believe that.
Also, how do you think their parents... It's never talked about, but how do you think their parents died? Do you think they killed them and ate them?
Oh, no, I just assumed, like, dysentery or something. I don't know.
Organ trip?
Organ trip?
How long do you think they've been dead?
Ooh. I
assume they're supposed to be all in their 20s and late teens.
I was picturing Gideon as, like, maybe 20, but possibly, like, 19.
I would see him as 17.
I could see that. I was picturing him as like
late.
I was picturing him generally as like just like late teens.
Yeah.
Like possibly as old as 20, but very likely younger than 20. And
how old do you think Adam is?
I was imagining Adam like very early 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I was imagining the parents as like having died not so recently that they would still be grieving them, but long enough ago, but recently enough that like they would have mostly been grown up by the time that they died. So, like,
I see that for two reasons.
15,
one, they do seem very self-sufficient, so they've been doing this stuff for a while. But two, they have noticed is like they have the capacity, I don't know, the thought to be like, oh, we are in disarray. Yeah. How long are you in that state before you're like, okay, I need to find me a wife?
Yeah, especially as like these men.
What was the life expectancy for Americans in the 1850s?
I feel like average was like in the 50s, maybe 40s or 50s. Listeners.
Okay, so Adam may have been like 24. Because this is an audio medium.
Made was fucking hilarious.
In 1850, the expectation of life at birth in the United States, computed on the basis described, which is Milbank Memorial Fund, incredible way to phrase that, was 40.4 years for white males and 43 years for the females.
That makes, mid-40s makes sense. But I also, like, a lot of times...
So these men were middle-aged.
Well, but also, a lot of times... I'm curious if they say, like, if they give any summary of their data source, because a lot of average, like, lifespans from, like, those times, a lot of the reasons they are really young isn't because
we just kept on killing kids.
Is it because people weren't living till older, but because kids just died a lot? Like.
So this is listeners. We're going to come back to us being engineers and researchers and whatnot. This is really important. What statistical methods you use in explaining your methods in doing so. Like, what is your sample size? What are outliers that may exist?
It's fine. Whatever your data is, just say what your data is.
Say what your data is. Like, is your data? Does your data have a normal distribution? What is the
your data
variance?
Truly representative?
Are we going to do an ANOVA test? Or are we going to do like what can we do? Is it if it's a non-normal distribution, then that has implications for what statistical methods you do.
Yeah.
So
she tells them to come
and
back
they clean up,
whatever.
and they're acting really polite, and honestly, they clean up pretty good. And she was like, "What handsome men we got here."
Yeah, and so she brings.
Do you have a favorite brother?
I have a favorite actor of the brothers.
If
that's close enough.
Yeah.
David. I really liked the actor who played David. I felt like was very. Sorry, Daniel. Yes.
Mark Platt.
He was so they were all expressive.
I liked Benjamin.
The actual acting at this time was very expressive in general, or acting at this time was very theatrical, rather. But his acting in particular, I found very, I don't know, just very expressive, very engaging, very exciting. I really liked watching him.
Yeah, and so she's going out because they're out of flour and some other stuff. She's like, I'm going to go to town. And Gideon's like, I'll go with you. And all the fellas are like, oh, I'll go with you. They go into town. And she's like, wait in the carriage. Gideon will help. You mind your manners. And
immediately offers a group of women chewing tobacco, and
which I will say is probably expensive and really nice. So he's like, "This is an expensive, nice thing. Would you like some?"
From their perspective,
which is honestly, this is pretty like feminist of them that they're not blinded by gendered norms.
Women. She's a dainty little flower. She can't have chewing tobacco.
It's like it's like, oh, here's this person. Not even going to say woman. Here's this person. I'm interested in talking to you. This is something I'm enjoying. Would you also like to be addicted? Like, you know what? And that's amore.
I love us. Okay.
What part?
And so they get into a fight, and I one quote that I really love in this section, that the characterization of these brothers is so funny and so perfect all the time. Benjamin is two of them have gotten off the wagon and end up involved in this fight, but Benjamin ends up taking most of the guys. And at one point when he discovers the fight, she comes over to the brothers who are still in the wagon, and she's like, aren't you going to do something? And one of them, I think it's Ephraim, maybe, he's like, well, what for? There's only three little ones. And it was very funny to me because of how it characterized them.
And she was like, stop this right now. And he was like, fine. Punch. Fight's over.
It's done.
And I think at that, we should get another drink.
I agree. Burp. Campbell, do you remember being back in 3rd grade and having music class and learning to play the recorder and hot cross buns?
Fun fact. So, I know a lot of wind instruments. I physically was not able to play the recorder. My teacher told me just to stand there at the concert. But yeah, I'm familiar with the concept.
That's so sad.
It's okay. I can play the bassoon. I've gotten over it. I don't feel bad about it.
Okay, well, we'll move on.
Put a pin in that.
Put a pin in that. Boop. So, unfortunately enough, there are students all across the country that have never before had a general music education class and don't have the ability or the opportunity to access music education and get the chance to learn tons of different wind instruments or even just the recorder. And that's why we are partnering with Education Through Music, which is an organization that partners with low-income schools in New York City to provide students better access to music education.
Also, 53% of New York City schools do not have a music teacher on faculty full-time. So Education Through Music also provides weekly music education by putting qualified music teachers into these schools.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the reasons this is so important is because motivation for learning means motivation for staying in school. And a lot of the students that are able to be involved in these music programs report that they have attended school when they otherwise would have skipped, or stayed in school when they otherwise wouldn't have wanted to stay, specifically because they were looking forward to music class or they were looking forward to ensemble, and getting to learn specifically about music.
And you can support and learn more at etmonline.org/donate. That's etmonline.org/donate. Help out. Do you have an instrument that you've neglected and now it hates you? Do you have too much money and think, hey, this can go to a good place? Neither applies to me, but I want to talk to you about the Daddario Foundation. They believe in the transformative power of music and that mentoring and building communities through music can positively affect social change. 100% of every dollar raised goes directly to support efforts to get kids involved in community music programs, acquire and maintain instruments, provide college scholarships, and support new innovation in music education. You can learn more and donate at www.daddariofoundation.org/about/donate. That's www.daddariofoundation.org/about/donate. DaddarioFoundation.org/about/donate.
Hey there, listeners. Pop quiz. Who was your favorite teacher in school? Did it happen to be someone who inspired a movie? Did that movie later change the world? Because that's exactly what happened with Mr. Holland's opus, the story of the profound effect a dedicated music teacher had on generations of students. The composer for the film, Michael Kamen, later started the Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation in 1996 as his commitment to the future of music education. Today, the foundation works with schools nationwide to audit their music education programs, supply quality instruments, train teachers on basic instrument repair, and even offer customized consulting to make sure the school's program fits their students' needs. The impact of this foundation now ensures that hundreds of thousands of kids across the country are granted access to learn and play music in school, keeping music education alive and well. If you're interested in supporting their mission, you can donate online, over the phone, or even while you shop Amazon or eBay. Visit mhopus.org/donate to learn more.
I was like, do you think yourself a nonchalant person?
Not at all. I'm the most chalant person, actually.
Like, nothing but chalant. Shout out Shalan. I don't know how to say fantasy character names anymore. But I think you would really relate to her in the Stormlight Archives book.
Of course, it's about Brandon Sanderson. I love it.
Shout out Brandon Sanderson. Cheers.
Cheers. Clink. So we get into the song, Goin' Courtin'.
After they come back after fighting, and she was like, you need to learn how to talk to women. And this song always gets stuck in my head.
Yeah. And we find out also, she specifically says, like, because there's a barn raising and a picnic in a month, and that would be a good opportunity for you to try this. So we get into the song Goin' Courtin', and I think this is like a quaint little tune. It's very fun. She's basically like, yeah, like you said, like giving them tips for like how to talk to women, how to approach women, how to dance. Most of it ends up being a dance lesson, actually. And they get very into it, which I think is actually really
I think this
cute.
is like the Manifest Destiny version of the mosh pit.
It's gotta be, right?
Yeah. And they all want to lift Millie, because that's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just learning to dance. Time passes. And it's time for the barn dance and raising. And they're cleaned
all
up.
gussied up.
Right?
I do like how they give them like a Roy G. Biv. Roy G. Give. Because two of them are wearing green.
Because they're giving. Happy Pride. I'm sorry. I shouldn't talk like that. I'm white.
So they go to the barn.
I'm sorry.
And so like the wagons are pulling up. We see there's like a group of young women, young men and women. So these are
and they all like storm Millie. They're like want to know how she's doing, if she's okay and stuff. And let me tell you, these brothers, they smooth with it.
Mm-hmm. They do a really good job.
They're basically Sean Evans to Keke Palmer here.
That's hilarious. And yeah, like so, like Adam is unloading the pies and pastries and all the things that they're bringing.
What would you bring to a barn raising? Because I went to one this past year.
That's so fun. I've never been to a barn raising, and I do want to go to one.
It was not really a barn raising, but it was like they were finishing like.
So you lied to me.
They called it that. And then I got there and I was like, that's not what this is. But what would you bring to one?
What would I bring? I feel like I'd bring I feel like I'd bring like an apple. Going off the baking thing, because that's what Millie brought. She brought a lot of baked goods. I feel like I'd bring like an apple pie. Because I really love baking apple pie, but I don't eat it very often, and I mostly make it for other people. So I feel like
never made me an apple pie.
That's so funny. I feel like an event like this would be a great situation.
I know it's out of season, but like we have decided that the next time we record, we're going to be in person.
Do you want an apple pie?
No, can we have sweet potato pies?
Yeah, I will happily make you a sweet potato pie.
Oh, Raven makes these individual sweet potato pies that are like some of my favorite things. They're so good.
Listeners, if you're black, you already know this, but it's just Patti LaBelle's sweet potato pie recipe in a muffin pan. But they
which is
are
interesting
good,
with her
like
recipes because, like, her mac and cheese recipe, which I know is a base for both of our mac and cheese recipes that we have run off with, doesn't have a lot of seasoning in it, and it's kind of disappointing.
Really,
it's like upsetting, kind of.
Like if someone has less seasoning in their mac and cheese than the Patti LaBelle recipe, I'm like, I don't know what to do with you as a person.
And then that's just like buttered noodles and some cheddar.
I'm just like, it's also
because
like,
in mac and cheese, like, I understand that cheese has different tastes, but the flavor shouldn't just come from cheese. That's
correct.
crazy. That's crazy.
Correct. It's like, okay, it's like I've interacted with multiple people now in my life who
Derogatory.
don't understand the reasons that people use certain seasonings on foods, put sauces on foods, and I want anyone who is listening to this episode at this time who feels that way to know cooking, since the dawn of human cooking has been about combining flavors. If you don't like that, by all means, eat your single flavor food. But as far as me and my house, we will serve the seasoning
cabinet. And she's
cabinet.
specifically talking to her autistic community.
I love y'all, the food sensitivities. Listen, we understand it. We will accommodate them. We only judge a little bit.
By we, she means her. I'm not a part of that. I just brought it up. So we are now.
What's this we shit, black woman?
And
is what you just said.
Do you know what I was about to say?
What?
You want to guess?
I truly know.
I was about to say, it is still I rise.
Truly the perfect response.
And still I rise. And so Adam is also with seeing such chivalry from his brothers, and Millie's like, flirting with him. It's like, yeah, you can learn something from him. And he's like, what? I already have a wife. I don't have to try. Crazy.
I hate this man.
Yeah, he is the worst of them by far.
We get into social dance. So all the brothers have been like grabbing these baked goods and like escorting the women over to like where all the festivities are happening. And so they're trying to like pair up with these women that they've done this with to dance. But there's also the women or the men that these women are originally betrothed to that are also obviously trying to dance with them. So this is kind of like a competition group dance.
It's a dance battle.
It's so fun. I love it.
Slide arm wrestling and gymnastics.
Yes. It devolves completely, but I think many of the scenes, I think this is a very well done musical number. I like the initial staging of the dancers. They're set up in like a kind of V formation, which is very interesting. I've personally never seen that before on camera. I totally see the reason for it. But it's an interesting way to make sure that all the dancers are clearly visible, but also in a way that's like barely noticeable in the sense that like obviously you see that they're in a V, like it's noticeable, but like barely noticeable in the sense that like they still make up for it with the actual choreography. Like they do the choreography as if they're standing in two straight lines, but they are in a V formation, and I just think it's very cool. I think they do a really good job.
They do a really good job, and like a lot of like critics of this musical have talked about the negative aspects, critiquing, but a lot of them talk about just how incredible like these next couple of sequences are.
I bet, yeah, they're really great. And so the brothers do end up winning the like hapless women at the end. It ends up like basically the competition becomes like stiffer and stiffer until they're fully doing like gymnastic and like strength stunts to like best each other
on the even bars.
Yeah, on the even bars.
Thank you. I just thought of that. And then it's time for the barn raising. There's going to be 4 teams. Whoever raises their side of the barn first wins Annabelle, a little heifer. And all these other dudes are just straight up trying to murder them. No, sorry, straight up trying to murder them. And they're like, "Oh, pardon you."
Sorry, my mild tangent. This is also really fun for me to hear because I've heard the term heifer so often in my life as a derogatory term for women that I forgot for a second that it originally started as a term for calves. And so he was like, "You'll win this heifer." I was like, "Excuse me?"
Are heifers just like cows that haven't given birth, or?
I thought a heifer was effectively like a maiden cow.
A young
like
female cow that has not yet given birth to a calf.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible. Okay, well, Raven doubts me once again.
It's almost like you're a rancher. I didn't doubt you.
Doubt me
I literally
once
said
again.
I don't know for sure.
It's like you said that. I don't know if that's right because I don't trust you as a person. And
you're
he's
seeing
like,
it in real time.
And I'm like
this
literally a
is
doctor,
this
which
is
is
what
crazy.
he does.
Which
it's
is
the
crazy.
tactic.
Which is crazy. I'm speaking right now. Don't interrupt me. I would never do that to you.
Wild. We like to have fun here.
Sometimes.
So,
I saw this one meme where it's someone was doing. It was very David Attenborough kind of commentary about gay men. How it's so interesting when there's like multiple gay men all talking over each other, but they can always understand what everyone is saying.
Always. That's how it is, like, being back home for my family reunions, too. I'm just like, everyone in this room is screaming, but somehow everyone also knows what everyone else is saying, and I don't understand it.
Shout out to my gay friends.
Shout out to gays.
Happy Pride.
Some of the men, obviously all the brothers form one team, and some of the men begin, like, sabotaging them, intentionally
like,
trying to...
hitting them with hammers.
Yeah. And so
and they're not fighting
like,
back.
they're trying not to fight
until someone attacks Adam, and
which I
Gideon
do like that.
was just like, no siree, and starts fighting, and then it devolves, and then you see Millie crying, and then she's like patching them up after, but like
raise the barn to the ground that they were trying to raise.
Oh, that's so fun. I love when opposite meaning things
sound the same.
Are the same. Like I'm trying to think of any other example. A fat chance and slim
dust.
chance.
To dust can mean to remove dust from something, or to dust something, like to put dust on something.
Or what? Yeah, I like to dust. I like to take dust from home and put it on things. Like
dusting a cake with powdered sugar.
No, I like to have my pre-made dust and then go to other people's homes
with the skin flakes. You gotta get the skin flakes.
Yeah, you gotta get the mites. You gotta mite a house up. I'm so tired.
So they go back home and lack of food. So they go back home. Millie tends to all of their wounds and tells them how disappointed she is. And Gideon tells her, like, he realizes he might be in love with Alice, which is the girl that he met, the girl that he paired with at the barn raising. And we get into the song When You're... Or he goes out to talk to Adam.
And Adam's like, I'm going to give you some advice, some things I've been learning from Millie. We get into When You're in Love, like reprise, and she's like listening, like at the door, so heartwarming. And then he does say one woman is pretty much like the next. So like, I don't know, you got the beginnings, but like, there's others.
Yeah.
And then Winter Descends.
Winter Descends. I like how they do the season transitions because it's just like, it's just winter now, there's just snow. And we see all the men sadly doing chores.
They're yearning, the gayest emotion. And we get into the song Lonesome Polecat. Do you know what a polecat is?
No, I've heard the term before.
Okay, so in the American South, it's more of a colloquial term for a skunk.
Which I did find it interesting that they used the term polecat because I have primarily heard it, like, in the Southeast. And I was like, we are as far as you can get from that region, but continue.
So, a polecat, colloquial term for a skunk. It's, like, used as an insult to describe someone who is, like, ill-behaved, who's stinky, and there was a conflation during colonization of skunks, and because of the smell, with a member of the weasel family, a polecat in Europe. So they're just basically saying we're lonely, dirty pieces of shit. Is this song?
That also makes a lot of sense, because I've heard the term polecat before, didn't know that was the history of it, but I'm also, Black Southern Americans tend to also use the term just like cat by itself, like not polecat, a lot in the exact same context. And I always wonder like where that came from, and like it always made sense to me that like it was probably just a shortening of polecat, but I was just like, but why?
I do think it's also interesting because like polecat as an insult, I think originated from like Shakespearean like language and plays and whatnot. But I'm not confident about that. Just somewhat confident.
Yeah, confident enough to say it on a live stream too.
It's not a live stream.
I don't know why I said that.
You fool!
You always say live, even though we're definitionally not live. So I really, really like this song. I think this is probably one of my favorite musical numbers in the musical. I think it has like...
It's just easy listening. There's specific like harmonies that are going on. They're not quite barbershop in like the different like pairings, but it like scratches the same itch to me.
And the rhythm of it is so interesting that
it's
also,
very
to
Western,
me,
like do. It's
but it has like these like intermittent like drawn out like da da da.
I love when when things are on beat.
Yeah.
I love when things, you can also be consistently like ahead of the beat and behind the beat to emphasize that dragging feel. And this is a very behind the beat kind of rhythm and like melody that's going on. That's just, it's literally pulling you forward musically. And I like that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the experience of like listening to this number.
I love that you had such a good time watching this.
Me too. And the choreography works so well with the music. The choreography in this number is so good. The way they're like rhythmically doing these like lumber chores. So they're like three of them.
What's more fun?
Daniel that's main singing, or Caleb maybe.
I think it's Caleb. What's more fun than being surrounded by snow, chopping wood all day because you have to for warmth? We've all been there.
Few things truly in the universe, in the cosmos. So you see Caleb, and he has two of his brothers like framed behind him, and they're like rhythmically chopping wood to like the beat of the song, and it's done so well. And then like they're just doing all these little things, but it's all done so like methodically, intentionally, right, perfectly on beat with the music. And I love the visual imagery of it. It reminds me a lot of is it Foley? It's not Foley, but that's close. Fosse. Bob Fosse. Bob Fosse was the choreographer for Chicago, and is really known for his iconic like choreographic style.
Which we were talking about him during a chorus line. You're like, I don't know who that is.
Didn't at the time, but
his daughter was in a chorus line.
That's cool.
The movie we watched.
This choreography, it's not Fosse-like, it's not like his choreography, but it just mentally reminded me of it.
Was it the exaggerations of the movement?
The exaggerations, the synchronicity, the way, like, there's so much stillness in the choreography, and all the movement is
that's
very
interesting.
intentional.
I like that.
You know? Yeah. I really liked it.
So, we see Benjamin talking to Millie. It was like, hey, I can't spend another winter here. This fucking sucks. I'm out. And she goes talks to Adam. It's like, Benjamin's gonna leave, and then the next one's gonna leave, and she like loves these. These are her brothers now, and she's like, I don't want them all to leave. Blah 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 blah. Don't leave me here with like the worst guy that's here. You, Adam, and you person I'm talking to right now, who I actually just dislike, and you're the worst person here by far. I don't want to be left with you. And he's like, you know what? I'll talk to them. And he was like, you know what? Do you know what could be a solution to this? Why don't you just, like, steal these women away from home and safety? And we get to the song Sobbing Women.
Stories by Plutarch, basically. But yeah.
So we get to the song
Sobbing Women, which is basically, you kind of described it before, but, like, basically a story about a Roman battalion that, like, they're at war, they steal a bunch of men's wives, obviously, to violate them. And like from far away, they take them back to their home. By the time the men eventually come and like find them and like try to take their wives back, they've apparently won the women over, and the women are all like, no, actually we want to stay here, we don't want to go.
Despite still like talking about how violent the act was, and
Yes.
like in remembrance of that, like marriage traditions of like carrying your bride across the threshold is like originates
Oh, that's
from
where that came
that.
from? That's
Yes.
crazy.
I know they say it in the musical. Way to pay attention, Raven.
Memory.
Yeah, you take notes though, right?
I take notes of the things that I am able to notice and write down in time for the movie to move on.
Does the word note come from the word notice?
I think the other way around. Like, they're both derived from the same root word, but notice would be a further participle than note would be.
Okay, you said participle, so I'm going to believe you. And we get into the song Sobbin' Women, convincing them to like steal women away in the middle of the night from safety in their families. And I gotta say, the song slaps.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's a really fun number.
I love the
It's like
rhythm of
upbeat,
it.
it's bouncy.
It is bouncy is the perfect word for it. And like, I think this musical is interesting because obviously Adam's the worst, and like the other fellas are like, they're like, you're led to believe they're like really sweet and they're trying, but at the drop of a pin that they could be convinced to just kidnap someone and they'd see no problem with that. Let's not think about that too much.
And it's also very funny.
What else
because,
could you
like,
convince them of?
so much of this musical is just like Millie explaining to these men that like women are in fact people and have other people in their lives that they care about, and that if you hurt those people, they'll be less likely to like you. And like it's so funny because like so often when they're discussing this plot of like stealing these women, it genuinely doesn't occur to them that this might be an action that upsets the women such that they no longer want to marry them.
This
Doesn't
is
occur to them.
literally what Robin Hood would have done.
It's what they say in the song.
And they're like, oh, let's go bring the love of our lives back home, and we're going to be like family, and we're going to have a wonderful life together. So let me grab rope and sacks. And
rope and blankets
and
to
then
put over
the
their
like
heads.
Sabin, they talk about like, he's like, I don't
Yeah.
know how to pronounce it, but like it's also pronounced like Sabin, like Sobbin parentheses, not parentheses, apostrophe, excuse me. And they're gonna make them sobbing women smile.
Yeah. And so they act on that plan. They head into town.
I think it's so
to-
funny when they like I guess I assume they're twins. And they get the women's like, no, the one you kidnap is mine. Let's
Yeah.
switch real quick. And the women are just like, oh, it's so good to see you. No, start crying and screaming immediately because this is horrific. And yeah,
this is the moment that I wrote down, I love this movie, 10 out of 10.
which tracks with the lore of this
Because-
podcast, because you 1, 2, 3 hate women.
Hate women. And so, yeah, now we're in
Canonically.
a high-speed sleigh chase because all the
Not
men
very high speed
notice...
because they have to be careful on their Clydesdales through the I'm gonna assume
Snow.
Willamette Valley, because that's just
Yeah,
one
fair.
short, less than a mile section that I'm deeming the Willamette Valley.
Nice. All the men obviously notice their
They
fiancés
note?
and daughters and sisters being stolen, and so they gear up. They mob
Wow,
up
you say
and give
stolen.
chase.
That's interesting because they're not objects or property. That's Raven. That's crazy.
Being abducted.
Thank you.
And yeah, they're chasing them through the like mountain pass, and this is at the beginning of the movie when Adam and Millie were first leaving and coming to his home. They went through the same pass, and we established that this pass has a really big echo, and so they're like keeping all the
Spoiler.
women quiet. And so they're keeping all the women quiet because they're just like, if you let them scream, like they're going to start a ruckus, they're going to start an avalanche. And so they make it all the way through, and as soon as they make it to the other side, he's like, let them go. And so they start screaming and shooting off guns and all this stuff and make enough noise to cause an avalanche. and the snow is falling for so long. It's like genuinely comical.
It's genuinely comical, like how intense they're intentionally like we're trying to make it. I'm like, when will this scene end? Like I got the like plus 30 second skip. I did that a few times. I'm like, it's still Avalanche.
It's still going. And I thought it was funny because like the brothers like they don't know at this point, like, the pass isn't short enough that you can just see the other side. They don't know for sure that they haven't buried and killed these men in this avalanche.
Why would they think about that?
Because presumably because they want to marry their wives and or their fiancés and daughters and sisters.
No, we don't. We have that realization later when they try to reverse kidnap them. Raven.
So
they bring him back, and Millie is horrified. And it's like, what the fuck?
What
Adam,
the fuck did you do?
Like, none of this is the girl's house. The girl's house. The girl's room. Did you ever watch the Amanda show? Mm-hmm. Similar. Debbie likes eggs. And it's like, you're not allowed to be here. You have to sleep in the barn. Adam doesn't like it. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to leave to their trapping cabin and, like, not come back because wolves are good company after what I just went through. Someone's like, hey, don't kidnap women. And he was like, whoa, I've never been so mistreated in my life.
That's crazy. Why would you tell me that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
How rude.
Anyway, he leaves, the worst of them. And then slowly Gideon asks Millie to talk to him, and is like, no, Adam's going to leave. He's like, needs to learn. And we see some hijinks over the coming weeks, months, whatever. There's some animosity. I really like that the women are throwing snowballs at them that have rocks in them. That's super tight. Big fan. And they're just like reading the only two books they have to the women, while the men tried to oh, I just need another blanket. Okay. And then some of the women are just like, oh, let me just look at you a little longer.
Let me just get a gander.
And then we see that they've already been here for 2 months.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think which of that was it. Dorcas. That was like, oh, which boy's bed do you think you're sleeping in? And they're like, oh, that's gross. And they're like, well, think of that.
We're all thinking
and then they start arguing with each other about how they're all are into them because of trauma, and they start fighting each other. And Millie's like, no, stop fighting. I really need to count on y'all because I'm going to have a baby soon. And they immediately start doting and taking care of her. And we see such women's solidarity and I don't know. It's a really nice moment.
I did there are a lot of moments where the movie, this movie is obviously people were misogynistic during this time and kind of still are, but there's a lot of moments where the movie is kind of pokes fun at these little things. One of those I do really like that the women do get into full on brawl during this section during this scene
because you think women should be beaten because you hate women.
Because up until this point, they've been characterizing the brothers very much as oh, they fight because they're boys. That's just how boys will be boys, and da da da. And it's just no. Also, women can be violent too.
I do think it's interesting because when I was thinking about how you would like this musical, and the two trains of thought: one, reality, this is horrifying, this is terrible. Two, considering both the 50s when this musical came out. This movie came out, and 1850s Oregon, where the main plot point is hey, men, don't be shitty, is pretty progressive.
Valid.
For the time period. And I didn't know which direction on the needle of the spectrum you would like.
Well, I think it's interesting when people... I think it's interesting. I do think this is probably progressive for the culture and time period, but there are times that historical cultures and societies are actually more progressive than we are now today. This was not one of them, though.
No.
Yeah.
It's
fine. And so, Millie comes in and tells him she's pregnant, and then after she leaves, we get into the song
pregnant.
June Bride. And I think this is another song with like really fun rhythms in it. Yeah. And
winter weddings can be gay. Shout out, Pride Month.
Shout out.
So at this point, like they're talking about, you know, how they want to get married to these men. There's echoes of Mendelssohn's tune, and that's of course a reference to Felix Mendelssohn's Wedding March in C major. They're dreaming of getting married. November, snow starts to fly. Come December, it's up to your knee. January, higher still. February finds a drift. The storm seems never to alive. March comes, and like a lion, there's still snow. April showers will come, so they say, but they don't, and it's May. And the sun is back. Like May, June, all at once, and one day it's spring. And we see them holding hand with the brothers, and we get to spring, spring, spring. And you know what? Everyone's doing pretty all right. And they're like, let's all get married. I love the different groupings of like different couples. And like it alternates because there's 12 of them that we see. Sometimes we'll see like a trio or a pair or a quartet. And we have different types of harmonies going on in spring, spring, spring. And I think, I don't know, I just really like, I think this is just like a really fun ensemble cast that like really lends itself to fun performances at whatever level you want to like do a musical. It makes sense that we did this in high school because we had a very talented chorus program. We had multiple state winning ensembles and barbershop and beat shop quartets there, where you have like a lot of incredible singers, but there's only so many leads that can happen. Like, what kind of musicals can you do? One of my good friends in town, Alec, is a middle school and high school band teacher, but he also runs the musical for the high school. And so they did Wizard of Oz recently. It was really fun to go to. Also, the person that was giving out the tickets, because like we had tickets saved for us, there was 3 or 4 of us gay guys, like 20s and 30s men come up, and the woman's like, oh, you're friends with Alec? Wow. Clocked. Derogatory. It was just like, oh, we know why you're here.
I know what you are.
And it was, yeah, exactly. And it was really good. And they're like, especially some of the seniors I was talking to Alec about, did such an incredible job. And we were talking about what to do like next year, like what kind of musicals should they do, given of like who will still be in these groups. There's always way more women than men. There was this one guy who played the Cowardly Lion that was incredible, and he's going to be a senior, and what would showcase him in a way that would like make sense, that they don't have to rely on another like man. Like, I mean, the Scarecrow was also played by like a high school girl. It like doesn't matter for like some respect, but it's also kind of rural area, so you can't do crazy things. And we were just trying to think like what are some good roles cast ensemble type musicals that high schools can do. And I think this is a really interesting one when you have a lot of good, equally diverse gender wise singers in a group, and you want to showcase them, especially with these students that work so hard and like they get to a certain part in their like high school career that they like, I don't know, it means a lot to them. So I don't know, that was a lot of thoughts about high school students and how hard theater kids work.
That's cool. I wish my school had put on musicals. We didn't do those. Which
is crazy to me.
We barely did plays, to be honest. Like, we did a couple of, like, one-acts and stuff, mostly for competition, that we just did also perform for the school.
Did your orchestra do festival?
Yeah.
Okay.
And our band and our chorus, as far as I know.
Which is
at least
like,
in middle school, they definitely did. In high
which
school,
is enough,
the band
like,
definitely did festival. I don't know if chorus did.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm assuming they did, because why not?
No. Anyway, she given birth.
I do find it a little disorienting when musicals go straight from one song into another, but I have no other actual issue with Spring, Spring, Spring besides that, except the fact that, like, I was just like, oh, it's a different song now. Don't like that.
From June Bride. And so there's, especially because there's like a lot of similar theming going on with both of the songs, that it just, I don't know.
It felt odd.
It felt odd. It like literally, if one of the women's like, okay, it's spring now, and then we got into spring, 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 I think you would feel differently.
Truly. But yeah. And so, yeah, so as you were saying, Millie has her baby.
Mm-hmm. Little baby girl. And Gideon goes up to see Adam, and Adam's like, oh, so excited to see you. And he was like, okay, Millie had a baby. And he was like, oh, is this one of her tricks? You barely know her. You suck
Also,
so bad. And Gideon's
you
like...
said you were coming back in spring, so you really should already be back anyway.
Correct.
I shouldn't be needing to come
and
to this cabin
Gideon,
to tell you
the
had
youngest
a child.
and the gayest of the brothers, is like, I know you can kick my ass, but like, fuck you, dude, and punches him in the face.
It's so cute.
And then,
I love him so much.
And then Adam just like pops him back on his pony and is just like, get on out of here, dude. We see that Adam comes back, is like, the past is clear. We see in the town, like, all able-bodied men. There's like, okay, let's go rescue these women.
Yeah, forming a
while
mob.
they're like, and then while the people are playing like musical chairs, having the time of their life, and Adam comes back, immediately kills the vibe.
Immediately, he's
No
like,
one wants him
do you
there.
not realize that there's an army of men coming here to take these women back? Like,
And he
what are
lets
we
them know
doing?
the pass is open, and the women are worried. They're like, "Oh, our dads are going to kill you all. That sucks." And Adam's like,
Because now we actually like
Adam's
you.
like, you know what? Let's get the wagon and the blankets. Let's take them back. He sees baby girl, and like any good man, once they have a daughter, they're like, maybe I should start respecting women,
Maybe. Well, some of them,
despite
Wait a couple
having
more
a
babies.
wife and a mother.
yeah, some of them wait a couple more daughters. But
Are you
yes,
speaking from lived experience?
yes.
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
yeah, and so he's
And
like,
with this, I'm not trying to put you on blast. You think that respect came?
I think he thinks that respect came.
And we're gonna move on. And so it's like, what's her name? And Millie, being a literal saint, it was like, I want to leave off of like where your mom left off, and like I was thinking an H name, and said all these different H names. Only one of them was good, Hannah.
Yeah. It was like Hannah and Hagar and Hegsabeth, and I was like, okay,
Lil Haggy, Lil Beth,
little hag.
Lil Hag. And then we get a different kind of movie, which I'm a fan of. And then he's like, yeah, now I have a daughter. I respect women. Let me kiss the mother of my child that I haven't seen in months, because she said, hey, don't kidnap women. And I took that as a personal offense. And then Adam talks to the dudes like, hey, I'm going to take them back. What do you think you're going to do? Beat me in a fight? You thought.
Yeah. And they're like really mad about the fact that he wants to take the women back, and he's just like, what do you genuinely think is the alternative? That you let their fathers and brothers come up here and fight you, and then you murder them, and then they still want to marry you? Like, are you dumb?
Will say, though, they were like, no, we're not going to take them back. The women also don't want to go back.
They were down. I mean, the women were down.
So instead,
say.
so they had to try to literally nap them again to take them home. And they kept on being like, it's like, no, we don't want to leave. And then like their family comes, and the reverends hears, like, they're like, catch them, the men, and they have them at gunpoint. And then the reverend's like, wait a second, I heard a baby. Whose child is it? And then all the women was like, I am Spartacus. And because there's no way to tell, all the dads were like, oh, did my daughter, unwed daughter, have a baby? Dude, you have to marry her, which is such a crazy resolution. It's like, you kidnap these, like, our daughters for months. Yeah. We're gonna kill you. Wait a second. You fucked once? You better fucking marry her or we'll kill you.
Which I also think is interesting, paired with the whole thing of the brothers having all biblical names, because that is a thing in the Bible, that if you rape a woman, you now have to marry her. And I'm just like, I feel like there should be other solutions to this.
So now, shotgun wedding.
Several of
now,
them.
men and wives, you may kiss, while sobbing women plays in the background. The end. Everyone is good now.
Everyone is good now, and Fiend. I loved this. Okay.
You really did. When we were playing D&D a couple days ago, when you like mentioned like, oh, I watched it today. You said like 2 sentences. I was like, oh, you love this.
I really did. And okay, so discussion question.
Oh, we do that.
So I'm curious, kind of two-part question. A, how do you feel about like naming gimmicks, like the ones that the brothers had? When parents
I actually do have a lot of thoughts about this. Like,
and
when
second,
okay.
follow-up question is, if you had like 8 kids, would you do one? And if so, which one would it be? Go ahead with your thoughts.
I think, like, sometimes, because, like, I have friends, like, their parents decide everyone's a J name. Or, like, we have, like, different syllables. I think, like, that's fine. If it's just, like, execution is the important part. Because when you have Hegsbeth as, like, oh, because we followed this, or, like, frankincense, I'm like, oh, you should, that's bad. Patterns only reveal themselves in totality. So...
if you miss one, then you fucked up.
It's not you fucked up, then it wasn't intentional in the first place. So it's like when other people notice or you tell people.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know. What would I do?
Like, there's the, like, all the same first letter, there's alphabetical, there's, like, rhyming, there's same
Well, I don't have
theme,
children, and I think that's pretty
locations.
far away if it ever happens.
But this is, like, in a world where you have 8 children.
Oh, God.
Do they have a naming gimmick? And if so, which one is it? Or in a world where you're planning to have 8
The
children.
naming gimmick would probably be, like, people important to me.
That's so sweet. I love that.
Because I do think...
'Cause it's always wild to me.
I will bleep this out. Legitimately, if I have a son, I really want to name them. Bleep! And I will bleep out the name that I just said. Because he doesn't need that power. Because he doesn't need that power.
See, I thought it was out of, like, kindness and consideration for your other friends who wouldn't have been...
Oh, no. They can
able
go
to-
fuck themselves. I legitimately... I love that name. And I love him so much. I would love to, like, name a child that name.
And I also like that idea because, like... Yeah, I mean, like, people will do the, like, oh, my first son will be named after the dad, or will be named after my grandfather.
I mean, that's fine,
like
but also, I do, like,
yes,
I think
like,
that's fine.
Cool. That's
and,
cool.
like,
That's not
they
my
don't,
problem.
also
But-
don't have to go by that. Like, my older brother, like, his name's Michael. Because my dad's name is Michael. Like, Mike Macaulay.
I don't know if I've ever known that information.
Yeah,
That's wild.
my older brother's name is Michael Connor Macaulay. He's only gone by Connor. Like,
And Austin
Connor
is the
goes
same
by
way.
his middle name. I go by my first name. My younger sister goes by her first and middle name, Mary
Yeah.
Kelly. I think that's
and, like,
fun.
Austin is the same way, where he's named after his dad, but he goes by his middle name. And I think that's, yeah, whatever, fine. But the point that I'm bringing up is that very often, culturally, that's limited to, like, the firstborn or, like, the first son, as opposed to just, like, I'm just going to name every sequential child after a different person that I care about. I really love that idea.
Which is interesting, because my younger sister, her middle name is my mom's name.
Yeah. That's cool.
That is cool.
My parents did that. So, like, my parents did a naming theme where all of our names
Are
have a
tragedies?
location. No, that was accidental. All of our names have a location in them, and yes, coincidentally, all those locations have had
Let's run them down. Let's go.
some form of genocide or mass casualty event. So first off, we have Tanzania. Listen,
Jasmine.
a lot of bad things have happened in
But
Tanzania.
that's her middle name?
Tanzania is her middle name, and that was both of my older sisters. Their middle names came from my parents. So that was like a secondary naming theme. So Jasmine's location is Tanzania, which is also one of my dad's middle names.
Is Rwanda her middle name?
Rwanda is her first name. She's the
Okay.
only one who has the location as her first name.
Okay.
So Rwanda is her first name. She did also get her middle name from our mom. I hope I don't need to explain what the tragedy was in Rwanda that occurred.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, it occurred in the year that she was conceived and born, and
She's my
was
age.
in the
Yeah.
news
Yeah.
when my parents decided on
And it's
that
like,
name.
that's pretty
I'm
nice.
just gonna leave it there.
Dude,
Just gonna leave it at that.
Okay, continue this. God, then I have a question for you.
And then mine is my middle name, Alexandria, which I did not get from either of my parents, but was selected to be reminiscent specifically of Alexander the Great, also simultaneously the city of
'Cause you're the goat.
Alexandria in Egypt. Wild thing to say. Go ahead. What was your question?
I sometimes see like memes of like, if this word didn't have the meaning it did, what do you think would be a beautiful name? And some people are like, honestly, chlamydia is a beautiful name.
There are some names...
Genocide? Call it Jenny.
Now I'm struggling to think of what it was, but there has been a word that I've had that thought for, that like, if this wasn't like a word that already existed in the language and just like had other connotations related to it, it would make a beautiful name. Cannot think of it right now, unfortunately. But yeah. But yeah, I would definitely do a naming scheme. I agree with the like execution thing. Like I know someone who did like both of her twin sons' names start with J, but their names are like Jay and Jai. So it's just like, can't ever fucking remember which one is which. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it depends. Because like my dad is a twin, and they both have M names. They're Michael and Matthew, Mike and Matt.
Yeah,
I think that works.
I feel like that works. Jay and Jai feel just too similar to me. You know, but
how do they spell Jai? Jai.
Jai, if I remember correctly,
because it's just
J
one letter.
It's a one letter difference.
Yeah,
because
so
if I remember correctly,
J-A-Y and J-A-I.
J is J-A-I-E and Jai is J-A-I, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so that's like even okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have more problems with that, but let's not.
That's not the point of this.
Like I was like, oh, of course, the one that's like obviously spelled as J-A-Y, that wasn't it.
Not at all. Not at all.
That's something. But like, I don't know, sometimes it's like coincidental that like, oh, we all have J names and we have another kid and it's like another name, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Intent is important.
I do really, my favorites are, I actually really like the alphabetical naming. I think that's so fun. Loved it in Bridgerton, love it here. The same first letter thing I also think is fun. I do think execution matters, but I think it can be really cute when like they all have like still unique and like different names, but they just do all start with the same letter or like sound or something like that. Yeah. I think that's fun. I like it.
That's fun. Let's talk about composers.
Indeed.
Because it's getting late.
It is. Well, whose fault is that, Campbell? I specifically said no.
It's Joe's fault.
No, I'm not taking the bait. So
what about Joe and Angie?
We have.
I did get something with Joe and Angie the other day,
That's
and
so
I felt so. Shout out to Michael McCauley, who I've learned the most ornery-ness, like stupidest jokes from in my life. Listeners, if you don't know, like Joe, obviously Joe Mama. But like Joe and Angie, let's role play this, Raven. It's like, oh, did Joe and Angie tell you that?
Who's Joe and Angie?
Joe Mama and your daddy. It's so good, and when you're able to just like throw that in there, it's like you feel electric.
It is fun when you can get someone with a bit, when like a bit that, especially when like they know the bit, they were just caught off guard, so they didn't. Yeah. Or even like you know how there's like songs that have phone numbers in them, for example. Have you ever given someone that phone number?
Timmy Two Tones, 8675309.
That was actually the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah, of course it is. But the fake phone number I give out is
678-998-212.
The fake phone number I always give out is my like best friend's high school girlfriend's phone number, because we were he didn't go to the same middle school with us, but we talked to him about, I don't know, we were in like early in high school, and we're like, obviously if you want to get with her, you have to memorize her phone number. So let's make up a jazz fusion song of her phone number, because it's, you know, Carter, Cullen, and Alex. So of course we're going to be crazy people.
That's so funny. The only time I've given out a fake number is when guys I don't like hit on me, and that's when I give them my dad's number.
Raven, I love you so much more every single waking moment.
Pick that up from Jasmine, so you love her too.
I mean, I do.
You do, I know that. That's why I said that. And I'm not even mad about it, because she's
Raven's
awesome.
Composer Corner.
Right. So we have music by Jean DePaul, lyrics by Johnny Mercer, musical direction by Adolphe Deutsch, and musical supervision by Saul Chaplin. So Jean DePaul was born 1919 in New York City. He was an American pianist, composer, and songwriter. He served in the Army during World War II, joined the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers in 1941, eventually becoming a composer for motion pictures. So then he went on to work at Universal Studios and Walt Disney Studios, among many other Hollywood companies. While he was at Disney, he participated in the creation of Alice in Wonderland, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and The Headless Horseman. He was also credited with writing the music for Lil Abner. Lil Abner, I don't know why I said little. He was credited for writing the music. He was credited with writing the music for Lil Abner and also composed the hit song Teach Me Tonight. He was also inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1985 and passed away in 1988 at 68 years old. Johnny Mercer was born November 1909. He was in Savannah, Georgia. He was a lyricist, songwriter, singer, and record label executive. He loved music as a child and attributed his talent to his mother, who sang to him often. He tried to learn trumpet and piano and to read music, but struggled a lot, and so decided that his calling was in writing and singing songs rather than playing them. He moved to New York City at 19 and began working as a bit actor while learning songwriting by hanging out with a bunch of songwriters until he eventually began writing his own and became one of the many Tin Pan Alley musicians of that era. It took a while, but his work eventually took off, and he moved to Hollywood at 24 to begin writing for films. Since then, he's written P.S. I Love You, Jeepers Creepers, When a Woman Loves a Man, Fools Rush In. It's a good song. Come Rain or Come Shine, Two Hearts Are Better Than One, The Facts of Life, and Life Is What You Make It. He's won 4 Oscars out of 18 nominations, and he passed away in June 1976 at 66 years old. And the Songwriters Hall of Fame established the annual Johnny Mercer Award in 1980. What did you ask?
June when?
June 1976.
That's pretty close. 1976? Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. We're getting pretty close to a 10s anniversary. That's a weird thing to say. Continue.
Oh, 10. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Adolf Deutsch, born October 1897 in London. Deutsch was a British-American composer, conductor, and arranger. He's orchestrated for Irving Berlin, as well as George and Ira Gershwin.
Oh, shout out.
Right. He's worked on The Maltese Falcon, Father of the Bride, the original, Some Like It Hot, $1 Million Mermaid, among many, many, many others. He's won 3 Oscars and passed away of heart failure in 1980.
I think it's, you know that...
This was your idea.
No, it is not.
To say how people died was literally your idea. I will quote it.
No, it's Tim Robinson's idea. I think he should leave now. When they have the in memoriam of the baby of the year, they're like, I don't think they say how they died. Like, one is like pancaked by a steamroller.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Terrible.
You don't have to say how they died. That's crazy.
That was your idea. And so I'm doing it. Saul Chaplin, born in February 1912 in Brooklyn. Chaplin was an American composer and musical director. He studied accounting at NYU, then after graduating, also joined the American Societies of Composers, Actors, and Producers, and started writing songs for theater, vaudeville, and also Tin Pan Alley. He began working with Sam Caan, and the two later moved to Hollywood, where they began scoring films. He worked on An American in Paris, Kiss Me Kate, High Society, West Side Story, The Sound of Music, and Man of La Mancha, and has also worked with the likes of Cole Porter, Leonard Bernstein, Judy Garland, and Julie Andrews, among many other stars. He's earned 3 Oscars out of 5 nominations and was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1985, and he passed away in November 1997 as a result of a bad fall.
Raven, I feel like you haven't given this much detail in a while.
Because most of the people we've talked about lately are still alive, so I haven't had the chance. All 4 of these guys are dead.
You haven't had the chance? Like, you're like, these people haven't died, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
That's crazy.
I do always check when I check when they were born. I do check if they have died. It feels appropriate. So Campbell, what are we playing today?
Okay,
Cello's
so
already tuned.
Raven's playing cello, I'm playing the clarinet, and we're going to play Bless Your Beautiful Hide.
Hell yeah.
Morbid edition. Be right back. That was really fun to play.
I don't know that there was a single measure that I didn't double string. We're gonna go with it.
I don't know what that means.
Because I'm a little tipsy. That means that I played
two
more
strings
than
and
one string at a time with the composer to not tell me to play more than one string.
Heard. But now we have reached the end of this episode,
Indeed
which
we
means,
have.
Raven, we have to rate this musical on a scale of 0.5 star to 5 stars on Letterboxd. What do
I
you think
genuinely think 5. I genuinely think 5. I don't know that I have a point to take away from. Like, yeah, obviously it's misogynistic, but that's the point, so get over it. Like,
honestly,
which
and
is
your
also my note for the comment.
makes me want to rate this 5 stars. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah.
Review or log review. We're gonna do 5 stars, and we watched.
That is my note. Obviously, it's misogynistic, but like that's the point, and it's good. So get over it.
So pulling from Raven's review, obviously this is misogynistic, but that's the point. You dumb idiot. The songs slap, and most of the men end up nice. Parentheses, even the youngest gay one. 5 out of 5. Raven, what do you think this got out of 782 fans?
I feel like Letterboxd is so unpredictable, but I'm thinking 3.5 stars to 4.
I need you to be definitive.
4.
That sucks because it got 3.5 stars.
It was 3.5. Dang!
Damn, you need to believe in yourself more.
I overestimated how much the internet. accepted
Scooper
misogyny.
Dew, who we follow, aka Mo, gave it 2.5 stars. It's been at least a decade since I've seen this. Who am I trying to fool? Another one, 2 stars on God. We gonna get you some pussy, bro. The movie. There's one,
yes.
3.5 stars, severely underrated as a horror movie. There's one, 3 stars, a truly deranged film. What are some higher rated? Just 7
Here's the
dudes
thing,
not being
none
able
of
to
these are
fathom that
wrong.
kidnapping 6 women was a bad idea. Okay, yeah. I think actually we are crazy for ready to give 5 stars.
Disagree. Hard disagree.
Okay, cool. But we have reached the end of the...
None of those reviews are wrong. I just disagree with the conclusion they have come to, which is that it makes it bad.
Oh, fucking crazy. But we're at the end of the podcast. Would love to hear your thoughts, listeners, on this musical. You can let us know by emailing us at boozicals@gmail.com. That's boozicals@gmail.com, or DMing us on Instagram at boozicals, or, you know, sharing your own reviews on Letterboxd at boozicals podcast. And when you're listening to us, rate us 5 stars, because like this musical, we're also misogynistic, mostly on
Oh,
Raven's
yeah.
side, and obviously that's worth 5 stars. And also, I don't know, giving kids instruments or whatever we do sometimes.
Occasionally, we like to support education. Doesn't really matter though.
Yes. Bless your beautiful heart. Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. We're at the end of the podcast. Anything else?
Bye.
What?
I was making it melodic because you were singing.
I don't like it.
And that's where the outro is going to end.